Now that is a serious delay. If this is working the way I think it's working, then we got a serious delay here, but I think we'll be okay. Having some issue. There's the chat room. Is anybody in here yet? Oh, we got 3 watching. All right, excellent. Mark, what's up? You made it this time. Hey guys, how's the volume? Volume okay? I know we had an issue last time. Good to see Mark. Good to see Strongs. This is definitely a spontaneous thing. David Lowe, you're behind this. I'm waiting for David to show up in here too. Still trying to figure out the live thing as far as like what's the best time to do what you're gonna do and all that stuff. But when you hey Mel, okay, good because I've actually did some adjusting on that, and it has to do with GarageBand, and when you set the volume in there, it kind of sets it for everything, and so I didn't even know. I had no idea, but I did look into it for you to make sure that it was a little better this time. It's hilarious. All right, so this is what the live stream. It was actually David's idea. David Lowe. Again, check out his not his website, but his YouTube. It is a page, but check out his YouTube pages at D Lowe. That's D space LOWE. He does nature stuff, shoots stuff out in the Smoky Mountains. It's pretty cool, beautiful stuff. I mean, I'm from that area, love it. It's gorgeous, and especially if you're a YouTube creator or know one. You said the 4x4 could be a little louder. Mark, you lost me there as far as I don't. I think I'm at the limit of what I can do. I'm at the. If you've ever studied the Peter Principle, when you're promoted to your first level of incompetence, that's where I'm at right now. Let's see. I just got the notification Strongs from your contest. If I would have just been a little sooner, I could have been at that contest. Also, check out Strong's Adventures. That is it's a good channel. Like you're gonna get hungry when you're watching it. You're gonna starve to death. You're gonna crave to go camping. But that's a good channel. I'll mention that again later. It says Bill, I'm going deaf. Says my wife. My wife says I'm going deaf all the time, and that I don't know how to listen. I totally get that. But we're going to have to talk about the government shutdown. We don't have a choice. And the reason why is, well, we need a topic for this video. I hadn't planned on going live tonight. When D-Lo said, let's go live, I was like, all right, let's do it. Because a few of you other ones said the same thing. And having watched that video that you just watched, a lot of you just watched, if you haven't, you just open up another browser and watch it. And this is our second trip up to the Blue Ridge Parkway, just to see what's going on. Of course, we knew it was closed. We knew it was closed before we went up there, but we also knew that we could walk, which is what we wanted to do, what we needed to do, as far as health reasons and everything else, and plus sunshine. Being from the deep south and moving up here to Virginia, you know, uh, it's definitely colder here. You're indoors more because it's colder, and so you don't get as much sun. You're not as for us. We're not as active, so it's like pushing that anytime it's warm to make sure that we get out and get out in the weather as often as we can. So getting up to the Parkway, there is a frustration there. There is like not in the air or you feel it in the atmosphere. It's more like when you get to the Parkway, you see the snow, and you know that means if they're not getting rid of the snow up through there, then that means that there's people not working. There's people that's not able to work. Now they're going to get paid later. A lot of these people, they're going to come back to work and they're going to get paid. But it's the point that people aren't working up there, and it just kind of trickles down to people who are wanting to go up to the Parkway and vacation and enjoy themselves. But if you're in here, I am grateful because you could be doing all kinds of other things. It's a Friday night, but maybe you're like me and this is just what you love doing. If so, well, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're a part of it. Carolyn is joining us in spirit. She's actually across from us. Last time I did a live stream, Carolyn wasn't here. I was kind of in here by myself. So now if I mess up, she can tell me, like, shut up, Bill, don't go there. But we do need to talk about the shutdown, and we're going to try to keep it friendly, try to keep it nice. I mean, right now we have how many people in here right now? 6 people in here. And so we'll try not to be it's hard not to be political in this one. I'll tell you what's harder than not being political. What's hard in this conversation is not making light of it. because there's like over 1 million people affected directly, and then you've got several million people who are affected indirectly. And so that's kind of heartbreaking. And then, of course, there are different phases of a shutdown. I talked about this a couple of streams ago, that you have to have an orderly shutdown, so they don't shut everything down at once. But the longer this goes, the more things are going to get shut down. Of course, they'll eventually, I'm hoping that they'll eventually just either reopen aspects of the government, which would be great, fund certain things and not others. But I've got mixed feelings about that too. The shutting the government down is supposed to be like the nuclear option. Like that option is supposed to be reserved when you just can't make a deal. And it really says a lot about our lawmakers, and not any particular party, but all of them. The inability to compromise and make a deal, it's pretty pathetic. And I don't care what side of the aisle anyone's on, because they are all responsible. From the president to the freshmen in Congress, they all have a responsibility to govern, and they are not governing when they just decide to say we're going to take our toys and go home and not do anything. It's all of their jobs. So it's not, for me. It's not. Did you catch that? It's not. But to me, it's not just one person or one party. It's all of them. And that's me. That's not just me trying to be fair and balanced. That's just me being real as a human. I think that we elect these people to govern and not to just hang out. I said that when the Republicans were controlling the House. I say it now that the Democrats are controlling the House. It says, Mark says, I hear volunteers are kicking in and helping out. And here's the thing, Mark, that's true. And when I was up there, we saw a little thing of garbage, like this little, it was somebody's dog poop. I mean, just to be honest with you. And they had actually put it in a little bag. But then I got kind of frustrated, because I was like, who gets their dog poop and puts it in a bag? And that's good. That's really good. And then leaves it out there. I'm like, are you serious? Like, what are you doing? I didn't see anybody picking up garbage, but they're doing that at other locations and other access points along the parkway. But that's not going to solve the long-term problem, even though I'm glad that they're doing it. And remember, people get paid to do that job, so that when volunteers do it, a lot of people would say, is that setting a precedent, to say, hey, maybe we should have cutbacks in those areas. It's complicated. It's a complicated ordeal. I was thinking about, wouldn't it be great to volunteer like with the chainsaw, to get some of the huge trees out of the road. I know that in southeastern Tennessee over at Lost Creek, people did that all the time. They did it for firewood. They'd go up there and you had to get a chainsaw permit or something. I can't remember. Maybe David will be here in a minute and help us out with that. He lives in that area. Mel says, budget, stop this. Yeah, they do. They do, but it's, deciding those budgets. Juan says, if people would clean up after themselves, it'd be really nice. America is not a third world country. I couldn't agree more. I remember when I was a kid, we would litter and be stupid because we were jerks. And now I can't fathom it. I just can't fathom littering. And if I did, my wife would get on to me. If I even think about it, my wife was like, no, you're not throwing, it's a matter of being in the habit of doing the right thing. I don't think in this case it's really littering. I think at first it was just people that were ignorant, and they didn't know that the government shutdown had affected things. And then all of a sudden, then you have the people that are lazy. But honestly, that's probably not a lot of the garbage that's piling up. And some of that discussion about garbage piling up, even when in one of my videos, even some of that discussion has been exaggerated a little bit. Well, I wouldn't even say a little bit. I'd say a lot as a talking point for pundits. And unfortunately, I used that in a video. I used that in our discussion that we had here a couple of weeks ago. And it's unfortunate because from what I'm understanding and from what I've witnessed at our national parks here in the Shenandoah Valley, it's really not an issue. Not yet. There are some places, some national parks where that's an issue, but in the places that we're discussing, I've not seen it as an issue. Juan says, we have way too many people in the house. We only need 50. I heard that. I think of that. I think of that sometimes in my own house when all the kids were at home. We have way too many people in this house. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Mark says, the bags won't break down. The poop does. Right? I don't. I have no idea what they were thinking. I'm clueless about that. American Rebel, hello. What's up, American Rebel? So glad you stopped by. Hey, guys, feel free to tweet this, share this on Facebook, get some other people in here, and let's chat it up about the government shutdown. What are your solutions for the government shutdown? What do you think that we need to do? What's the first step? What needs to happen? Just play nice in the chat. You want to make sure that you play nice so that, you don't want to Okay, let's just be real. I don't want to get the chat demonetized. There it is. There it is. I said it. Now, of course, right now somebody's going and making sure that that it gets demonetized. Um, Ron says, if you bring it in, then please take it out with you. You know what? Yeah, yeah. I'm glad there's garbage cans up there though, because it's a long parkway. When you get up to the parkway, a lot of access points, it can take 20, 25, 30 minutes just to get to the access point. I'm glad we have garbage dumps around there in places. I'm glad we have people working it. Those are jobs when people take the garbage out. That's jobs that it creates. I'm glad. But yeah, I don't see any reason that you would want to ever throw something out of the window or just pile it up in garbage cans. If a garbage can's full, that means it's full. No more, no vacancy in the garbage can. You bag that thing up, put it in the trunk, and there you go. So Strong says, we have 3 dogs. People would be mad if we didn't clean up. Oh, no, cleaning up after them is good. But if you're in the woods, maybe you can help us with this. Because if you're in the woods, because, where I was at in that video, you're in the woods. You're not as isolated as you think you are. We'll talk about that in a minute, I hope. We'll get to there, how there's a little bit of an illusion on this end of the parkway. This end of the parkway, you think you're in the middle of nowhere in some of those shots, and you're not. And I try to allude to that in that last video when I talk about the roads that are parallel to the Blue Ridge Parkway. But yeah, you got the dog poop on the side of the road. They put it in the little plastic bag. That's good. But the main problem is that now you've got this plastic bag out there that's probably going to get carried off by an animal because you're in the wild. So I'm thinking you just let the dog poop because you're not in the woods right there, but you're on a road. You're on a big road that is in the woods, and it's a road where there's a lot of animals pooping. Bears are pooping. We saw all kinds of bear tracks today. We saw bear tracks galore. We saw coyote tracks. We saw dog tracks, of course, but all kinds of animals, deer. If you go through there and just look at the snow, you could probably pick out deer tracks and dog tracks and everything else. It's kind of crazy. If I had a dog, I think I would love to take a dog up there. I think that'd be great. Poop or no poop, bag or no bag. I would love to take a dog up there because all the smells, all the different animals, I think they would love it. But yeah, I think what's really cool about the Blue Ridge Parkway in Virginia, or interesting, neat, different, whatever you want to call it, is that the illusion is that you are so far away from everything. You are just out in the middle of nowhere. But the reality is that if the road I mentioned there, what was that? What was it? 610? Is that the road? 610. If you go to 610 and you follow it, and you can find all of this on Google Earth. You can find all of this on Google Earth. And if you run beside 610 or run on 610, you run parallel to the Blue Ridge Parkway for a very long time. Because there are houses up there, very, very nice houses that overlook the Blue Ridge Parkway. Now, you don't see that as much in North Carolina at all. And in North Carolina, there are areas of that stretch of the Blue Ridge Parkway that are, man, you're in the middle of nowhere. If you leave the parkway one side or the other, you're still in the national forest. You're still, you're in wilderness. And it's not so much here. There are places like that around here, but not the stretch I was in today. Again, there are roads all around you in any direction that you look. You're either on to the right side, you're looking into the Shenandoah Valley or another valley, and it's very populated. And there's towns, all around you. That's interesting to me, is because it's like they created the illusion that there's nothing there, and there's a whole lot of there. And so, of course, now in the comments we're talking about poop. I'm just saying, folks. I'm just saying. No, but Strong's Adventure says we have 3 dogs. We talked about that. Then Juan says, thanks for picking up after them. I hate that's true, Juan, is if you don't pick up after them, people step in it. I guess my only point, I'm not saying I'm right. Hey, I don't have dogs. See, I don't even think about that. I don't think about those things. But I do think about it when I step in it. But I'm just thinking if it's on the snow, you would see it. I don't know. Is it better than an orange bag? Which is better, the poop or the orange bag? Because it could be another 2 or 3 weeks, and that bag's going to end up in the woods somewhere. It won't stay there on the road. When the plows come up through there, I'd say that they're going to plow it right off of where it's at right now, and then it'll, of course, fall down. Because when we saw it, it was on like the right side of the road. So here comes the plow, and then after the plow goes through, the little bag's going to fall on down the hill. That's the way I'm looking at it. Nobody's going to actually pick that up. I just wonder why they didn't pick up the bag and take the bag out. I think that's the main thing. And then somebody says, Mel said, who cleans up the bear scat? Yeah, well, okay, we get his point. You know what's funny is I didn't see the bear scat. I guess the bear has its own bag that it puts it in, and it carries it off. The bear and the deer, they do their own bags, man. But the government shutdowns affected them. They're not getting as much food up there. Carolyn got a kick out of me saying picnic, and so I put that in the video. I've always said picnic in as to be funny about Yogi Bear, but I'm older than Carolyn. Carolyn, my little hot wife, man, I'm older. I'm like 8 years older than Carolyn. And so Yogi Bear was retro when I was a kid. And when she was a kid, I don't think you grew up with Yogi Bear at all, did you? Did? Okay, well, she did a little bit. But, he always said a picnic basket. So I always say picnic. Strong says, I imagine the animals are loving the government shutdown with no cars and less people. I don't know, Strongs. We saw a lot of people. We saw a lot of people. Now, there were about, I don't know, 12 to 15 cars when we first pulled in. When we first got there, 12 to 15 cars. When we left, there were fewer. But there was another on Elkton, what is it called? Elk Road? The other road, the access road up there was called Elk Road. Elk Mountain Road. It was closed as well, but there were people walking on that end too. It was way too snowy. That access point was way too snowy. The snow looked pretty deep. It looked like people were sledding there and stuff. And it looked like a lot of fun. It was something I didn't mention in that video. I wish I had of is that these access points, if you can get to the access point, they make for a great area, especially down there. The southern end of the Blue Ridge Parkway, if you don't get a lot of snow, that's a great place to go find snow if it's open, or you can walk to it. Saw a lot of hikers, saw a lot of people that went up there. It's a thing. I said that in the video. Like, it's people do that. I know that back in the southern part of Tennessee, people, when it snows, they'll go to the Cherryhouse Skyway, and I've got a video on that. You can check the catalog there. It was one of my first. We've done 2 or 3 videos in the Cherryhouse Skyway. It's also called the Tail of the Dragon. Pretty awesome area. That road network is awesome. It's right up there with the Blue Ridge Parkway. If you've never been there, Cherryhouse Skyway is a must-do. Absolutely beautiful. If you like the Blue Ridge Parkway, you'd love the Cherryhouse Skyway. But that area is people when it snows. Everybody in that region that's kind of in the know about and they want to see snow. That's where they'll go. Carol and I went up there when we were first married, and we slid all the way down the mountain. It was hysterical because I couldn't get the 4-wheel drive on her Blazer pushed in, and we hit another car, but we just kind of drove off. Both of us just looked at each other and shook our heads and shook hands and drove off. He wasn't happy about it because it was my fault. Because I started sliding. He's like, you got 4-wheel drive? I need to put your 4-wheel drive in. But it's a great place to go find snow. Mark says, I figure if Congress could clear to concede 2/3 of the president's asking, then we could roll out of this crossroad and get back to normal. Maybe have some healing and concessions. I'm with you for a compromise, and I'm with you for any kind of compromise. Anything where both sides feel like they're winning and they can have their talking points and talk trash about each other. Fine, whatever. I don't know if we're going to have healing, Mark. I wish we could. If you have healing, then you got to drop some other stuff. I would love that. You know what? That patriotic side of me, that nostalgic side of me wants to see that so bad, to see a government that gets along again, a government where people talk sensibly, or at least behind closed doors is where they talk to each other ugly and then, at least publicly be nice. I would love to see that more than anything else. But right now, I'll settle for the compromise. And to me, Mark, I'll take that compromise. That sounds good to me. Juan says, please always hit the like. Mr. Bill makes good and fun videos. Yeah, hit that like button. Smash the subscribe button. Exactly. What year Blazer? 1996, Mark. Is it 96?
The green one was.
Yeah, it's 4-wheel drive, 96. And she had a kicking sound system, man. It was awesome. She had 210s in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Amp. She had an Alpine amp. And yeah, man, it was awesome. It was awesome. The axle broke on that thing. It was terrible. We didn't have a 4-wheel drive after that for a few years. It was a long time before we had a 4-wheel drive again. It was a 96 Blazer. It was green. I had a white 2-wheel drive Blazer same year, if I'm not mistaken. The same year of Blazer, which was pretty cool. I will say this. If you're going to go on these roads, you have to have a 4-wheel drive, regardless of the shutdown. I do feel sorry for like the people who work for the parks. Of course, I feel bad for them. I mean, it's pitiful. Your heart breaks when you think about their jobs, and then of course the people who are connected to those jobs. When you think about it, the grocery stores are affected. The people who serve the people who are making the money associated with government jobs, they lose money. So I know it's the nuclear option, and I would just wish they would just come to a quick compromise and get the government wheels turning again quickly. I want to get back to the Parkway. I look at it from a purely selfish motivation. I'd like to get back to the Parkway. My '94 frame totally rotted out on me. Yeah, we didn't have that issue, but I've heard of somebody else that said that the years that we had those Blazers had the same thing. Those were good Blazers, though. They were good. They were good. They were awesome. I got a Chevy. What is it? A Silverado. Love it. Uh, it's a 4x4. It is the. I love it. I wouldn't say I'm a Chevy or a Ford man, but I've always leaned Chevy. But I love Ford. Dad had a Ford F-150 that I drove the wheels off of recently. I mean, he had that until 2000 and I think 2015, if I'm not mistaken, and it was new. And man, I drove more than he did, and I absolutely loved it. Push button 4-wheel drive. The interior was great. Awesome sound system. It was amazing. But I love my Chevy Silverado. It's paid for. It's always good when it's paid for. Mark says, I love that car. Mark, for some reason, I'm hearing the heartbreak in your in that statement. I love that car. And just kind of like shaking your head, oh man. My son Nathan, he's got a Dodge Dakota. And it's got a V8 in it, and it runs like a scalded dog. I mean, he loses tires. His tires, they just disintegrate because he just burns them up all the time. He's got some awesome pictures and video. I need to put his video up of him doing crazy stuff. Mel Johnson said, approve Trump's amount, let Border Patrol control where the money US spent. I'm assuming you're saying US spent. Here's the thing: the amount that Trump is asking for it's a pretty huge compromise. I don't know if Trump's going to try to compromise anymore. Or excuse me, I don't know if he will compromise off that number. I would just like to see somebody compromise. I don't think he's going to come off that number because it's already a huge compromise to what he was wanting originally and initially. And what he's asking for isn't a whole lot different than what Barack Obama had. Actually, Barack Obama had received a lot more money for the borders as well as prior presidents. American Rebel said, talking about the highway, my grandparents took me there when I was a kid, and I remember Sliding Rock. Do you know about Sliding Rock?
Which area?
Which highway, American Rebel? Which highway? I can't. You said when I was a kid, remember Sliding Rock. I can't for the life of me remember Sliding Rock, but I'm wondering which highway you were talking about. Are you talking about the Blue Ridge Parkway, or? And if so, which state? Virginia, Tennessee, North Carolina. But I don't remember Sliding Rock. I'm sure it's a Sliding Rock. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know about that one. I'm not sure where that one's at. There are so many pinnacles and lookoffs. If you don't know anything about the Blue Ridge Parkway as far as its founding, it's an amazing story. It is an absolutely amazing story. You need to look into that as far as how they designed all of it. That what you're seeing and experiencing there, it's not just clever. And I say this more than the Virginia skyline. The Virginia skyline was built and finished in 1933. They started it, I think, in 1930, if I'm not mistaken. I may be wrong about that, but they finished it in 1933, and then they decided to build the Blue Ridge Parkway in 1935. And it was meant to ride like music. And I want to do another video about that because the video I've got that talks about the history of the Parkway is been pretty successful, I guess, but not as much as I wish it was successful. But the whole Parkway was meant to sound like music, to feel like music with crescendos and decrescendos, where how music will swell and then it gets soft, and that's what the Blue Ridge Parkway is supposed to be like. Juan Thomas said, my 99 Dodge 4x4 is a bulldog and drinks gas like one. Man, amen. Our truck isn't that bad. The Silverado isn't as bad on gas as one would think, but I think it's because of that highfalutin, whatever it's called, where it has, I forget how many gears the thing has on it, but it adjusts itself to maximize the gas mileage. Mark says they say 25 billion to complete the barrier, but Trump is asking for 5.7 billion. See, that's a pretty big compromise. I'm wondering if he would go to 5 billion. I'm just saying. Just save. Just try to compromise. Just hey, I'm throwing this out there. I suspect he's not. I suspect he not. So you have to understand the Congress, the Democrats that were just elected, they're going to take this whole Mueller investigation, which I didn't want to get into this. This is asking for demonetization here, but the Mueller investigation, the timing of it is if you don't think it's political, I don't, and it doesn't matter if you think he's guilty or not. It's irrelevant because let's say he is guilty. Okay, let's say he is guilty. And I suspect that if you put anybody under a microscope long enough, you're going to find something, especially when it comes to campaign finance and all the things related to a presidential race. You're going to find something on everybody, and your defense can't be well. All these other people do it because they're not the ones that's being questioned. I suspect the Mueller investigation has been delayed this long to time it with a new House. So the Democrats do have a reason to hurry up and pass a budget because then they could start impeachment process, unless they're assuming that it's not going to happen. Because if it goes to the Senate, it's not going to happen. I don't know what their strategy is. It just doesn't make sense. I don't know. Juan says yes, he should have already gotten the money. Dennis Jackson. Dennis, what's up, Dennis? Good to see you. I love you, man. And I owe my entire existence to you and your family. I love you. I'm so glad you joined us. Hey, just tuned in for Barberville. Got a 2006 Chevy, and it's rusting under the doors, but it still runs great. Over 100,000 miles, man. Dennis, that is awesome, and it's a Chevy. Listen, I love Chevy. When you knew me, I was in a GMC, which was really just S10, but it was S15, but it's an S10. I drove that thing till I wrecked it, and I mean, I'm telling you that was good. Dennis, it's good to see you as always. Dennis is awesome. I can't believe Dennis showed up. Juan Thomas said yes. Okay, I read that one. Then American Rebels is North Carolina. Mel says campaign finance isn't. No, campaign finance isn't criminal. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if you look hard enough, you will find something wrong in everybody's books and every candidate. They all walk the line. Insert Johnny Cash song here, but they all walk the line. They all have to do the best that they can not to break the law. Sometimes they break it and don't know they're breaking it, and they're all guilty of it, every one of them. I guess what I'm saying more than anything is you're going to find stuff. Had they investigated Hillary Clinton like this, I promise you they would have found stuff. But whether any of it sticks, I mean, they call Trump the Teflon man. Nothing sticks. I've been impressed with how nothing sticks. I mean, nothing sticks at all. Mark says, love Front Royal. Found my first giant swallowtail butterfly caterpillars there on Pickley Ash. Front Royal, Carolyn loves Front Royal. Carolyn and my youngest daughter, Crystal, they went down to Front Royal. They love it down there. It's up there from here. Harrisonburg, if you didn't catch this last time, where we live, we're about 28 to 30 minutes from the Virginia Skyline Drive. And, of course, from there you would turn right, and then you end up on the Blue Ridge Parkway in about 40 minutes. Or less. It depends. I know that on the Virginia Skyline Drive, it's much different than the Blue Ridge Parkway. Not in the way it looks, the architecture, the way everything's kind of built, the way the road's designed is almost identical. But the flow of the road, the Virginia Skyline Drive is faster. Matter of fact, if you're driving too slow, the Rangers will pull you over. We've been pulled over 3 times, I want to say, and not for speeding. To hurry up, because essentially you got people coming in from Washington who jump on the Skyline Drive, and it's just a different attitude. People from the Northeast jump on there, and they want to get their mountain fix, and they've got their convertible in the summertime, and they let it fry. And so Mel says, I got a notification on Facebook. Notification for this live stream? I hope so. That'd be great. That'd be awesome. Again, if you just joined us, we're talking about the government shutdown. What is your solution? What is your idea? And what sparked this discussion was D-Lo, who I've not seen in here yet. I can't believe D-Lo did not show up because he's the one that was sparking me onto this live. Anywho, I already texted him and called him. But we wanted to go live, and we decided, I said, let's talk about the shutdown. That's a good peaceful discussion. I kid. It is definitely a trigger. If somebody's easily triggered, the politics right now will trigger anyone. And I've tried to be very careful this time. I know during the election, I started my YouTube channel right before the election and during the election. And I would jump in there and say something every now and then. And I could tell that, let's say I had worked my way, because I had under 100 subscribers. I don't think I had 50 subscribers at the time. And if I had any type of content about President Trump at all. Even Trump wins. One of my videos was called just Trump wins, and I just said, hey, well, he's elected. What's going to happen? Is he going to build the wall? Is he going to do this? We'll see. Let me know in the comments. I was just trying to get subscribers. Some good clickbait. Kind of let's get something going on. I think I lost 4 or 5 subscribers right then, and I was like, really? I mean, I wasn't that bad when other presidents had been elected, where I got mad, and I didn't do that. I don't. It's not a football game. It's not like your favorite team wins or loses and you have to have a rivalry with the other team. Surely there's some things we can compromise on. Throughout history, I have found that there are presidents that have not been in my party that I've liked more than some of the presidents that have been in my party. Juan says, I say they all need to get to work and do their job. That's my point. Get to work, legislate, lock them in a room until they come up with a plan. That's the way I look at it. Mark says, we are in a society where there are so many laws you can't help to break several daily. I've thought about that, which is what made me think of Trump, as far as the campaign junk that he's been, and then Russian collusion. If you're a businessman and you're trying to run in politics, there are just so many things they can get you with. I can't believe he's still in office. I can't believe he got elected. It was shocking to me, but it's like, okay, let's see what happens. I said the same thing when Barack Obama was elected, and I said, I think the ones that didn't shock me when George Bush was elected were George W. He was the president. It made sense. Barack Obama was elected. I was like, wow, this is a big deal. This is big change. This is a big deal. Interesting. Let's see what happens. Second term, not so much, because I was disappointed in his first term. But it didn't have anything to do with his party. It didn't have anything to do. I didn't like some of the decisions that he made. Strong said, Mark and Juan, I agree with you, both of y'all. We all agree together. Vote for Bill. I think I would be a terrible politician. I don't know. Would you guys think you'd make a good politician? I think I'd be a terrible politician. I think that it would be easier for me to be more like a tyrant and just say, do it because I said do it. It doesn't work. I don't know. Coalitions, I think, work better in getting people on board. Getting collusion isn't illegal. Well, no, but it's unethical. No, we gotta be fair, Mel. It's unethical. It's then there are aspects of collusion that can be. I mean, I gotta be fair about it. If you agree or that what he did wasn't wrong, well, there you go. Disagreeing, it wouldn't make that person necessarily wrong. It's a gray area, and it's really on how the American people feel about it at the time. Like I said, it's not going to go through House anyway, or it's not going to go through the Senate anyway. The Senate's gonna laugh at it if they try to impeach him on anything. If they had something, if the Mueller investigation had the proverbial smoking gun, this would have been over already. But waiting this long and this investigation going on this long, and now that you have a Democratic controlled House, that tells me that there's no proverbial smoking gun with a flashing light. Oh my goodness, this is terrible. I would be shocked. Mel said there's no evidence. I think there's probably evidence that there were some slimy things. Yeah, I would say so I don't think I'm disagreeing with you. I'm just saying I can't make a blanket statement like that. No evidence. I'm sure there's evidence of something. There's enough evidence to keep this thing going, but not enough evidence to prosecute. How's that? Is that better? So I don't think there's any evidence to drop the hammer. If they had something to drop the hammer, they would have dropped the hammer. But they have enough to keep this thing going. I hope Mueller knows what he's doing, though, as far as his own career, because people that press the issues during the Monica Lewinsky thing, they are nothing more than footnotes in history, and it killed the Republican Party. It really did. A lot of people were mad at Republicans for stretching that thing out for so long. So I hope it doesn't backfire. I wouldn't say I hope it doesn't backfire. I would rather it. Let me read this real quick. I'm gonna have to hide that one, just simply for the fact that I got a warning on it. So please forgive me as far as that last message on there. So please forgive me, but it gave me a hey, you might want to consider hiding this. So forgive me on that one. Dennis Jackson says I try my best not to watch the news, especially the big networks, because they don't report the news anymore. My wife is actually shaking her head right now, going, "Yep." They don't report the news anymore. They all make comments and opinions. if they know so much, why don't they run for office? Here is the funniest part of it. I totally agree, 110%. There is no news. There is no news. It is all political commentary. That's the problem. Is we really don't have any type of news. We are the to have so much news all the time on every channel, 24 hours a day. We are still the least informed people in my lifetime. And it's not just we always blame the millennials. Oh, it's the millennials. It's the millennials. Man, the millennials are smart as a tack. I hate it when people get on the millennials case and say the millennials are doing this wrong and doing this wrong. They are more aware than you think. And I tell you what they do understand. They understand that the money that they're making now is not going as far as the money that their parents and grandparents and great grandparents. Their great grandparents and their grandparents, they could work a summer job and pay for their college that fall. You can't work 5 years and pay for a year of college. They do understand that, and it's causing some of them to turn to what I call wicked socialism because they see the writing on the walls that their money's not going to go as far. They're very smart, but they are being informed by commentary, and they have no historical understanding of some of the issues that are taking place. We have a huge threat with China right now, and China's infiltrated every fabric of American society, and they have the cash just to really infiltrate even farther. And it's sad that our young people are just completely unaware that they've been sold out by the previous generation to China. China scares me to death. China scares me more than any other country. Now this video is definitely getting demonetized. Thanks, guys, for stirring it up in the comments. Just kidding. Um, thanks, American Rebels, for staying by. I appreciate it, man. Be good. And Juan Thomas said, I removed it. Oh, no, it's all good, Juan. A little warning comes up. It's no big deal. And I hit it. I think it had to do with all the people thing, and it was one of those. Don't worry about it at all. Matt Sieber said brainwashing. Are you talking to me, Matt? Are you saying that I'm brainwashing people? Good to see you, by the way, Matt Sieber. And I don't know what all that is, but okay. All right, cool, American Rebel. Indoctrination. You talking about the news? Yes, absolutely. One says, I say go to a trade school, you're better off. Yes, unless it's computers, and then you can go to college, but I totally agree. I totally agree. I told my son to stay, he's great. He builds engines and stuff. I said, stick to it. China is in trouble. I know what you're talking about, the aging population and things like that. The problem is that they know how to invest into the global economy. And so if China's in trouble, we're in serious trouble. But I know what you're saying, Mel, that they're, as far as their demographics, but they know what they're doing when it comes to their expansion, their economic expansion. Mark says, what I resent the most is the alleged reporters telling us what to think, telling us the salient points, and then letting us figure it out. Or you said, tell us the salient points and then let us figure it out. To me, that is the best way to handle. To me, I wish I could just read like blurts of statements of what's taking place and then let me do the research. Let me figure out what's really going on. There are so many newsworthy things that are taking place around the planet all the time that our news people don't cover because it doesn't get as much, it doesn't get as many likes or clicks or views now, especially now that we're on this thing. This thing here, if you think about the news, I would want you to think about it this way. You're talking to somebody who, we weren't even supposed to have a live stream tonight. We did. It's great. We're sitting here talking about the news as if we are all informed geniuses. And I hope some of you are all informed geniuses. And I'm not too shabby when it comes to being in the know about political matters and political things. I'm not too shabby. But these guys on television, they're supposed to be experts. They're supposed to know everything about what we're talking about. At least they come across that way. But their goals when they are reporting the news is no different than my goals right now. They're trying to get views, trying to get people to stay watching, trying to click the like button. By the way, you need to click that like button and smash that subscribe button. I'm just saying. Their goals are the same. And that's weird to me. Like, I want you to trust me as a source for entertainment and to engage and to grow a community, but I don't want you to trust me for your daily news because I don't have time to do the research. Matt says, tide pools, baby. Oh, Matt, that was cold. Mel says, the world has a debt problem, China especially. Well, yeah. But, but that's our banking system, and that's not really, that's how we operate now. The world has a debt problem, and Matt says, but China's culture cares deeply for they don't have enough elderly, though. That's the problem. They have too many elderly and not enough young people to take care of the elderly. Strong's Adventures, one, I agree. I went through a 5-year apprenticeship and made money the whole time I was there. Matt says, nail in the head, William. I think I missed William's comment. Let me see. Did I get it? Oh, he's talking to me. I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. That's why you shouldn't trust me for your news right there. You know what? You're not going to probably see a live stream ever like this one where somebody just comes in and is just totally authentic and unrehearsed, unscripted, just rolling with it because I was asked, and now we're losing. Now we're losing watches. People are saying this guy's crazy. Who else has got something juicy? Wow, I had no idea we was going to talk politics tonight. Now I'm scared. I need my windmill. It gets kind of scary in here when everybody stops chatting. I'm telling you. The International Monetary Fund, Mark. Yeah, the problem with that conversation, though, because there is an issue with banking. There is definitely an issue with banking that I don't understand. But the problem with that, and I've said this a few nights ago, is that conversation ends up going real dark because it goes into some old 1930s philosophy and attitude that's just sinful and evil. And because there's a link that people are making there that's incorrect and it's wrong. So it's like I'm leery about going that direction. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm glad you commented. So don't get me wrong. I appreciate you being here. I'm just saying I'm scared to go down that path because of what it invites and a certain mentality that it invites. Because I do not stand with those mentalities that say one group of people control everything. That's nonsense. Dennis Jackson, do you remember Walter Cronkite? Sure do. Sure do. He never talked about any president like they do now. No, he sure didn't. And he was one of the most respected news people ever who ever told the facts. Dennis, who started it? I mean, this is a great question. Who started this trend? Some people would say Fox News started it. I watch Fox. I watch every news show. There's nothing. When I'm catching up on my news or having my news moment, I usually on my screen, on my computer screen here, I'll have 4 or 5 opened up and scroll to the timestamps on each one of them covering a certain topic and just go from topic to topic, seeing what all of them say, then try to dig as much as I can. But I think Fox started in on Clinton. Remember Fox when they started out? They were a big deal because they were new, and they started in on Bill Clinton and getting rough. But I'm not sure if you could say that they started. Some people would go back in time and say that passively Tom Brokaw would say some things, and a few of the other ones. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not trying to wonder who started that. That did modern liberal press start that, or was that started in a different way during the Clinton administration? Strong said, being a Bill myself, I knew he was talking to you. I noticed that on your videos. By the way, Strong's Adventures, they've got a great channel. They have a cooking thing that they've got going on over there. It'll make you hungry. They made lasagna in a Dutch oven. And I'm telling you, I not only did I want my Dutch oven back that I had to give away before I moved up here because we just didn't have the room for it. So I had to give my Dutch oven away. But they made lasagna over a campfire with a Dutch oven. So not only was I hungry, I missed my Dutch oven and I was craving lasagna. Thanks, Bill. Appreciate it. But seriously, I want you to check out his channel. Go ahead and open up another browser if you can. Just go over there, open up another browser and click the subscribe button and click his bell for notifications over there so that his next video, you can watch his stuff. Man, salt of the earth, wonderful people. You're going to enjoy their channel. You really are. Mark said, yeah, the birth certificate stuff, dark. Wait a minute. I missed something on there, I think. I think I missed what the birth certificate thing was about. That was some crazy stuff, though, when President Obama was talking smack to Trump, and Trump was in there, and then Obama drops the microphone, and then Trump becomes president. I'm just saying, that's some crazy history book stuff. Matt Sieber says, conspiracy theories around... Man, y'all are talking now because I can't keep up. Conspiracy theories abound in this political conversation. Call us out, Matt. Tell us about it. Tell us about what we're saying. I'm not conspiracy theorizing here. If I'm doing it, hit me with it. Dennis Jackson, CNN, maybe there were. CNN's pretty bad. CNN's a joke, though. Does anybody watch CNN anymore? I haven't watched CNN since like the first Gulf War. I think it's been that long. I'm smoking a beef tongue tomorrow. Yeah, whatever, Matt. That hurts. That hurts me down deep because I'm hungry right now. We just had baked tacos. Carol makes the best homemade baked tacos you've ever had. Juan says plain bread. Yeah, me too. Buster Tim is in the house. Good to see you, Buster. Good to see you as always. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. Buster, we're just talking light here about politics. Just things to trigger everybody, get everybody rolling. The government shutdown, all that stuff. Fake news. I am not fake news sometimes. Y'all are going to make me want to make conspiracy videos again. I'm telling you. What's funny is my demographics. Maybe, I don't know if y'all said no. Juan? Have you seen any of my conspiracy videos from early on? If you have, let me know. I'm just curious because I know that you've caught up with us the past few months. I didn't know how you felt about the videos that I made back then versus now. Our subscriber count sure is higher now than it was then. I'll tell you that. Matt says all networks are owned by a few people. Yes, they are all owned by 7 corporations. That is true. Buster Tim said I read some comments. He's kept up. um, I thought YouTube when I first got on YouTube, not even as a creator, but just watching YouTube, I like this is it, man. We can, there's some great information that's taking place here. Some news stories were actually birthed on YouTube, like not invented on. Well, some were invented too, but some people on YouTube actually broke news stories, and I thought this was going to be great. But that changed after the election, man. All that kind of stuff changed. When everybody gets quiet in here, I get nervous because I'm thinking, well, it's about to roll out. Buster Tim says, I'm talking about NBC, CBS, all the networks, fake. Yeah. I think we'd have to go a little deeper into that though. I think we'd have to, what do we mean by fake? I think, it's not that what they're saying is fake. I think it just has an agenda. I think I definitely agree that they are all fake. They just have an agenda. So you've got truth sprinkled in to give them the narrative that they need to spin it however they want to spin it. And that's all of them. Even if it's for the guy or the gal that I'm wanting to vote for, they all spin it the direction that they want to spin it. As far as conspiracy, Bill, if you hooked you up with my brother, he'd make your head spin. Man, I ran into somebody. I did a wedding, and it was a great wedding. A beautiful couple. Oh my goodness, and they were just wonderful. And I wish I could share with you what the father of the bride shared with me. And of course, I wouldn't mention his name, but this guy, he was tied into some government people. They were Italian too, so they're just wonderful. I mean, I'm talking Italian, and he was sharing with me some stuff that was just blowing my mind. And if none of it was true, it was still entertaining. It was like, wow. And I don't know if it's true or not, but it's just government stuff, and moon landing stuff. And he was that we definitely landed on the moon, but it's what they brought back and all this other. Oh man, it was awesome. So D-Lo, you're finally coming to join us after you're the one that sparked this thing. I'm telling you, man. By the way, folks, this live stream is brought to you in part by David Lowe Roofing. Anyway, everybody check out David's D-Lo's website or his YouTube page as well. It's pretty awesome. He does nature shots down there in the Smoky Mountains. And I'm telling you, when you're looking at the stuff that he's shooting with his camera, it's like you're there. And they're just like 1.5 minute videos, most of them. So it's like you can go through them in about 10 or 15 minutes. Hit the like button through there and subscribe as you're going so you can keep up. But it's relaxing. It is so relaxing. And Matt Seaver says, a little truth along with the lie. Yeah. A little truth, and then you put a whole bunch of rotten meat in it. You sprinkle it to season it with truth. That's about how it is. All of them, I would say. CNN doesn't always spit out the fake news. You don't think so? See, I'm not a CNN fan because I thought it's not that what they're saying isn't fake. It's a matter of if let's say your channel doesn't like a president, whether it's Obama, because I said this when Obama was in office and Fox was attacking him all the time. I kept thinking, why is that the focus of all of your news? And I say that about CNN when it comes to Trump. The thing is let's take Sean Hannity, Rachel Maddow, all the primetime, commentators in the evening. I don't know what their purpose is. I'm trying to figure out what in society, how we've defined their purpose. They're not really telling us the news. It's like a nightly pep rally, and it's just kind of weird. I apologize. I've got a Dub. I had to, unfortunately, and I don't know if you're supposed to tell people this or not, but I actually had to hide that last comment because it was, it had a word in it there. But please stick around and say something else. Join us with something else. But I've been telling people that because I don't want to hurt their feelings. I don't want to make them mad. I'm like, yeah, I had to take that comment down. And that's happened to me a few times. And sometimes it's not even like a conversation like this. We're just talking, and they'll say something. I think Juan, you and I, and some other person, I don't remember who it was, and the other person said something, and it was like they said, "Hey, you don't need to have this on your chat," And I was like, "Really? Wasn't even that bad." Matt Seaver says, Pilot asks, "What is the truth?" And here we are. Man's truth is a false narrative. Yeah, yeah, I think we're always just trying to make our case when we talk. Can you imagine if you had to go through life, but you had to handle it as a political pundit? So, like, when you went to your job, you had to handle it like a political pundit. Like, if your boss said, "Did you get that job done?" And then you spent 45 minutes or an hour trying to explain why Bob should have done the job. You didn't, but Bob should have done it, and it's all Bob's. Anyway, I thought it was funny. Dennis says, "I don't know." Thanks, by the way, Dubs, for saying no problem, because I was like, oh, man, I'm sorry. Um, Dennis said, "I don't know if they have a purpose. I think it might be. It is ratings. That's it. Dennis, they're making money. They want to make that money. They want to make that dollar. But here's the thing. When we watch them, we're the ones paying for them. We're the ones handing them the money, which is crazy. Everyone smash that like button. Thank you so much, Buster. I appreciate that. I'm trying to find if I missed another one. The moon is hollow and alien. There is an alien outpost, Matt, on the moon, and it's controlled by government alien people. Man, we'll get some Alex Jones stuff up in here. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. YouTube and Google. Hey, does anybody have one of those Google things in their house where you talk and it does something for you? Anybody? Because I got one for my dad, and we haven't plugged it. We tried to plug it in, and I didn't have my iPhone, his iPhone app or his iPhone code. I think he has it now, Carolyn, if I'm not mistaken. So I need to hook it up for him. But essentially, he can ask it a question, and it's supposed to be able to tell him anything.
It's the Google Home.
It's the Google Home. Thanks, Carolyn. Strong's Adventure says, "I just want to see the news, not the anchor's opinion. Just like the Hollywood celebrities I pay to watch their movies and not." Oh my goodness. And I want to tell you something strong. That goes for both sides of the aisle because I'm trying to be as neutral as I can. It's hard. I'll be honest with you. It's very difficult in this conversation to be neutral. I'm trying to be as neutral as I can. But both sides of the aisle. So I'm going to pick on Clint Eastwood, even though I love Clint Eastwood. I'm not impressed with his political rhetoric and several of the other more conservative Hollywood elites, if you will. I don't want to hear their opinions either. It's like, dude, act, make movies. Make good movies because Clint Eastwood is both an awesome actor and a fine filmmaker, but I really don't want to hear their opinions. Buster says, with this shutdown, it's going to cost us more than Trump wants for the wall. It is. And that's something I tried to bring out in the video, but I think I don't know if I accomplished it. And that was to say that when the shutdown is over, we have to go up to the park, not we, but the people that work at the parkway, they have to go up to the parkway. Let's say there's snow there. Of course, they have to remove the snow. But then everything that's happened between the shutdown, and we're in the middle of winter, between the shutdown and after will take exponentially more money than it would have just to maintain it. Imagine leaving your house in the middle of summer and nobody's going to mow, nobody's going to do anything, and you're gone for 5 or 6 weeks. Can you imagine all the bugs, the grass, the limbs? It depends on your yard, I guess, but still, I don't have a yard anymore because we rent here, because I come up here to pastor. I pastor a church, so we came up here to rent, and we'd like to buy a house in the next year, but real estate is higher here. But you know what it means? It means I don't have to do a yard anymore. Just saying. Just saying. Mark asked a question. He said, "Bill, I'm a wee bit confused. Could you explain the difference between the Virginia Skyline Drive and Blue Ridge Parkway?" I would love to. I would love to. All right, so the Virginia Skyline Drive, that was the first road in this huge 500 plus mile road, and that goes from up here in Northern Virginia all the way down to North Carolina with this little other hook that's actually in the Smoky Mountains, and it's beautiful. But the Virginia Skyline Drive was the first section, and it's the first part, and it is a distinct entity apart from the Blue Ridge Parkway. They're two different things. but they're the same road. One runs into the other. So when you're on the Virginia Skyline Drive, you pull up to whatever access point. Let's say it's at the northernmost part, and you pull in. When you get there, you have to fork out $30, or you can pay a season pass like Carol and I did. That is one distinction between the two. It's 30 per car, and then Carol and I think paid $56 for a year for all of us. I mean, that's just a one-time $56. So the Virginia Skyline Drive, you have to pay to be on, is what I'm trying to tell you. The Blue Ridge Parkway begins in Waynesboro, Virginia, and which is just down the road about an hour, and it goes all the way into North Carolina, and of course, it's got that little hook there in Tennessee, and it's free. The architecture and everything is phenomenal. It's beautiful, but if you didn't know any better, you would still think you were on the Virginia Skyline Drive or vice versa. Again, it's the same road. It's just you have those little gates that separate the two. I'm more of a fan of the Blue Ridge Parkway than I am the Virginia Skyline Drive. But that being said, the Virginia Skyline Drive is amazing. It's its own thing. It's very different than the Blue Ridge Parkway. So having to pick between the two, I don't want to do that because it's just different. There are some neat things though, like you have cell phone signal on a lot of the Virginia Skyline Drive. Not all of it, but a lot of it. I could do a live stream up there where I can't do that here, or can't do that on the Blue Ridge Parkway. So there's some there for us. There are more bears on the Virginia Skyline Drive, which is weird. I can't figure that one out. If you like nice amenities, I mean, it's nice. Listen, it is the Virginia Skyline Drive has neat amenities except for the toilet paper in the bathrooms because Carolyn right now is giving me a bad look because they don't keep up with their toilet paper in the bathroom, whether it's the shutdown or not. But there's your difference between the two. What I recommend anyone doing if they can is to go to the northernmost or the southernmost part. I would start at the northernmost part. That's just my recommendation, and drive the whole thing. It would take you 3 or 4 days because you'd want to stop and whatnot. But that's what I would recommend is driving the entire parkway. I would love to make a video or a series of videos where Carol and I do that very thing just to kind of model it. I think that would be a blast. Let me catch up in the comments here. Or we drive from the top part all the way down, which I know we've seen all the parkway, but to do it all at once, I think that would be really cool. So let me go back to see if I missed anything since Buster's comment. I'm just reading through here. Juan says, I'm with you, Bill. Buster says, Tim, US will never run out of money. No, it won't. It won't run out of money. That's true. I mean, not really. But what'll happen, but I do want to clarify that so that anybody else watching this in the future understands. We can do something else to, like you said, print money, but you don't want that. And even if I know that there's a lot of theories out there about how there's manipulation to where we would never put. Every time that we do that, what it does is it hurts laborers. Laborers are the ones that absorb that. Okay, so if you are in any type of labor or just lower skill, I hate to say lower skill, but in other words, you're not making, let's say, 6 figures and above a year, your labor becomes less valuable. The money that you make becomes less valuable. So even if we can rearrange and remanipulate the market to keep money flowing, that's not necessarily a good thing. You want the value of your currency. You want it strong. Government said, Mel said, don't buy real estate. You don't think so? I would. Well, I don't want to right now. If that's what you're saying, I'm wanting to wait. I get you. I agree with that, Mel. I don't want to buy real estate right now. Trump is trying to make America great again. I think he is trying. I think the definition of what great again is the problem between people. Some people look at it as this is great, and some people say this is great. I think and again, I say this just so you guys know where I'm coming from. As a Christian pastor, I have to identify right from wrong, regardless of the party. So for me to rubber stamp any party to me is wrong, and to give everyone a pass, I can't do that, or everyone a fail. That's just not my job. I have to try to be as objective as I can, especially in public. Not all pastors feel that way. Some people feel like they have to take a political stance. For me, as a Christian, I have to take a stance of righteousness. Which is why I have to address certain things. Righteousness has to come before anything. So I have to address it that way as opposed to addressing things along political lines. My mouth's getting around. I'm talking too much. By trying to persuade business to pay for American labor instead of going to China. To me, everybody got mad about the tariff, and I'm still not sure that it will work. It's one of those things, but I'm glad that he's trying something. I think that's the big thing for our economy. Now, I don't know how successful that's going to be. At least we've kept it lively tonight. So funny. This is why Alex Jones stayed on live stream all the time. I'm telling you, this is it right here. You just get everybody going in the comments. I tell you, the sickest place to go though was back in the day in an Alex Jones comment section, because you had the meanest people said the meanest and most hateful things in there about other people, and I hated that. Everybody got all quiet on me. I'll tell you what, I am definitely glad that you're here. I don't know where my counter is right now. Excuse me for one moment. The moon landing thing is the other thing that's been cracking me up lately, as far as some conspiracies that are coming out about China's landed on the moon on the dark side, and then there's people that say that China faked it. It's kind of funny to me. Mark says, I know I jump around a lot, but I think of this, Bill. So far tonight, you've covered shutdown, dog poop, cars, conspiracy theories, Parkway, and China. All we got to talk about now is what the frogs are drinking in the water, baby. Yeah! Man, I hope if anybody watches this in the future, they understand how lighthearted and silly this is. Then if they don't, get a life. My goodness. Buster says, I think everyone in government should be fired. Buster, I'm guessing you're a libertarian. I'm just guessing here. You're a libertarian. Hey, I don't think everybody in government should be fired. I think that we need to. Okay, I'll give you. This is what I think, Buster. I think this here. I think you and I will definitely see eye to eye. Speaking of the Skyline, by the way, Mark, did I answer your question about the Skyline Drive and Blue Ridge Parkway? If hit me up there and let me know, make sure I answer that question. Buster, let's take the Skyline Drive. I can be on the Skyline Drive, and if we're looking at a bear, we'll have a park ranger on us within 2 or 3 minutes. That's anybody. And it's not so much that I don't care that somebody else is caring for my safety. I get that. It's that what else? If you're getting to me that fast on that long stretch of road, that means there's a lot of park rangers, a whole lot of them. There are speed traps up there and everything. And I'm thinking, do we need that many? And I hate this because I know that if somebody watches this in the future, I'm going to get blown up in the comments. But I'm just not sure we need as many people working for the government. I think sometimes we create situations as opposed to having security or whatnot to defend it. But if we're going to start cutting that, and by the way, I'm going to say this first. I was in the military for 9 years. I'm a graduate from Officer Candidate School. Hey, listen, I had a pretty good military record. So when I say this, I have a right to say it. If we're going to cut, the biggest part of our budget isn't welfare recipients. It isn't all these other people that they typically complain about. The biggest portion of our budget is military spending, and there is money in the Pentagon's coffers missing. $33 trillion, if I'm not mistaken, that's missing. So if I'm going to put the spotlight on anybody, it's going to be military spending, and look at that budget. And that sounds so liberal or democratic, and it's like, no, to me that's just common sense. And I lean more conservative most of the time, but to me that's where we need to start at least examining to cut. All right, go ahead. Blow me up in the comments. I'm waiting here for this chat to blow up because I just said that. Let's see. Mel says, I'm trying to catch up here. I think everyone in government should be fired. Mel says, houses outlive people. We have a demographic problem too. All developed economies do. Save our money. Man, now Mel, we're on the same sheet of music there. Save your money and everybody. Mark says, indeed. One says, I don't care if companies have things made in China, but sell it outside of America, make it in America, and sell it in America. I do too. I don't know if we can do that anymore. I would love that. I don't know if this thing right here, and I've had one and love it. I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't love it, because I do, and probably somewhat addicted to it, like many people I know that are addicted to their cell phones. You can see a reflection of Carolyn here if I hold this just right. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry. But many people are addicted to this. If you had to make this in America, do you know how much this iPhone would be? Probably $4,000 or $5,000. And then I feel bad. If I think about that, I feel very guilty, because I realize that practically slave labor, made this cell phone. Now, I'm all about talking about that in this situation. I'm being real with y'all now. Now I'm just being authentic and just throwing it out there. When I think about the little hands that made this iPhone and the suicide rate, what it is there in those factories where they make this, I feel guilty. And yet, knowing me, I'll probably buy the next iPhone. I didn't buy the 10 because it's got bugs in it, but I'd probably buy the next one. Just rather be real with you to show you the hypocrisy that I even face sometimes. And that way y'all can be real too. Hopefully y'all will be real too. Hey, Dennis, I am so grateful that you were here. Thank you so much. And it's good to see you again, as always. Thank you so much. Man, Dennis Jackson took me hunting when I was a kid, killed my first deer with Dennis. So grateful for him. That's why I said, Juan Thomas said, that's why I said we don't need more than 50 people in the house. I think there's well over 400. There's well over 400. Vonda, this is your first comment in here, I think. Good to see you. Vonda says, it's common sense. You're right, Bill. And I'm ashamed of it, but I'm just trying to be truthful about it and look at it and say, there are Christians being persecuted in China right now that are being killed, sent to re-education camps to make Christianity more in line with the Communist Party. And our companies moved to China, and they're grateful. I was a big Elon Musk fan. Now he's building a factory over there in China, and I'm just disgusted by that. And blow me up in the comments. Somebody later that's watching this in the future, blow me up if you want to. But to me, I realize that there's a market there for the Tesla cars, and that it helps with the environment. And here's the bottom line: whether you're for or against global warming is irrelevant to me. The bottom line is I hate pollution. Global warming is irrelevant to me. I want clean water and clean air. I hate even the debate of climate change because to me it's silly. Let's focus on having clean air, clean water. To me, that's the compromise. It worked back in the 70s with all the environmental commercials. People don't throw their trash in the ground. We were just talking about this. People used to do that. They don't now. Anyway, I'm preaching now. I need to hush. Cut the pay of the Senate, the House Representatives, Congress people, all of them cut their pay. Agree. And campaign finance reform galore to where they don't just live to raise money all the time. Mark says, Coast Guard was always saying we do more for less. Who is responsible for the trillions of dollars lost in the defense spending? First I've heard of it. We have no idea. This has been going on since prior to September 11th. Oh, now the conspiracy theories. If you were in our last live stream, I think we ended briefly grazing past September 11th conspiracies, which I hope we don't get into any of that tonight. But that happened. What's his name? I can't remember right now. We were missing money in the Pentagon before September 11th. September 11th happened, and the conversation changed. And now we're missing. It's just misappropriation, accounting issues. It's not like it's been stolen. It's just we're not keeping track of it that well. Strong's Adventure says, I work at a variety of plants. One is owned by a German company. One is owned by a Mexican company. One's owned by a Swedish company. Yeah. And with each of those companies, except for the Mexican company, the German and the Swedish company, there's a trade issue there too, but it's not the same gap with China. Bob said, amen to that, brother. Mark said, my company has opened in China recently. Well, Mark, I hope I haven't offended you, buddy. I've enjoyed you coming and chatting. Matt says dark projects and aliens, talking about the Matt, man, I love you. You're awesome. Okay, would you guys be willing to be as honest and open as I am and tell me if you watch some crazy conspiracy theories? Just tell me. Just be real with me. Because Mel just said Building 7. Look, man, Mel, it is weird. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist when it comes to most things. And September 11th is one of them where I accept the official story. I really do. It's just so tragic and terrible that you search for it to be something else. And I said this on the other stream. I'm going to say it again. I think so many people want there to be a conspiracy because we just can't accept the horrible truth. And that's why I've watched those conspiracy videos 85 times, because I would just rather believe something outlandish than believe the pathetic story that changed my life. It completely changed my life. Matt says, there's your missing money plus 300 for a hammer. Yes. Vonda says the government could take a pay drop. And if Mr. Trump really wants his wall, and I missed that because we're blowing it up, we have Bethlehem still shut down, Republic still shut down, and the one in my hometown, U.S. Steel, 1 out of 4 furnaces down. Vonda, can you explain? I don't know if people will, and I don't want to mess it up. Can you explain that a little bit down here in the comments, just like in the chat? Explain what you mean. You say the government can take a pay drop. Mr. Trump really wants his wall. We have Bethlehem Steel Shutdown. You're talking about reopening those to build to pay to build those walls, right? In other words, let's not import our steel. Let's make it here. Oh man, you're preaching to the choir now. You're preaching to the choir now. Strong's Adventure says he was talking about I do to a previous comment. Matt says often watch 3 conspiracy films this week. Matt, are you like me or anyone else? Is it to where they're just entertaining? Because to me, I had to evaluate myself because when some of those channels got shut down a few months ago, I wanted to evaluate myself before I went on a crusade for other YouTubers. I prayed about it. Just being real, I prayed about it. I said, God, what am I missing here? Because I just become verified again. Losing my verification bothered me. When I first started my YouTube channel, like the first 6 months, I thought I was being shadow banned because I would mention this or mention that, only to find out probably not. I wasn't setting up my channel right. My videos weren't that good, bottom line. So I was more combative anyway when it comes to this form. When I evaluated my own thinking, I realized that and I'm going to say this again and try to word it a little better than I did last time. It wasn't so much the conspiracy theorists or the channels that I was watching. It was the strange bedfellows that it makes in the comments. You end up aligning yourself with ideologies that are evil. We'll take the flat earth thing. We talked about it the other night. We'll take the flat earth thing. Some of the things that they say, not to mention the fact that the whole flat earth thing is just wrong, but it's also some of the people that are lined up with that flat earth who all believe a whole bunch of other things. Buster Tim says, make the government pay their insurance just like we have to do. Amen. Amen. I agree. You're just messing with me. Mel, I knew you were messing with me on building. So I knew you. I got the humor, but I guess I was just commenting to when you see it fall, it does look like demolition, but that's not enough for me to believe in a conspiracy theory. It's still hard for me to believe that when the two towers fell, when I look at that on the videos and I watch them, we've never seen a building come down like that before. So it does make you question things, but I have to still believe in the official story. I have to. Yeah, Mark, you said Vonda wants the steel industry involved in the wall building. Yes, that's right. I didn't know if she wanted to add anything to that because that's good to me on those big projects. Get those steel mills. It's the same way that I feel about Detroit. And honestly, Detroit is my original hometown. I was born in Wayne, and my family still live outside Detroit. I love Motown. I'm a country boy, but if you're from the South, usually have people in Michigan or Ohio one, and so I still give it up for Detroit. All my favorite sports teams are out of Michigan, unfortunately, because I'm a Lions fan. I'm a Titans fan because I lived in Tennessee just about my whole life, but I'm a Lions fan, and God rest their soul because they die every season, right? But I would love to see the car industries turn around and be what they once were. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they died, and I wish the government hadn't bailed out some of the car companies. Vonda says, yes, major steel in Pennsylvania shut down, workers misplaced. Lorain, Ohio, U.S. Steel, 1 blast furnace out, 3 working, major layoffs. See, that's just terrible. Bob says, it's hard to have an opinion similar to yours at a liberal college in Colorado. I hear you, buddy. It's great to hear folks that have similar values, and have similar perspectives. Keep preaching. Bob, I appreciate you. Hang in there, Bob. Hang in there. Don't. And my daughter goes to a liberal college, the same one that I went to for most of my college career. The second one that I went to, that finished up at, wasn't as liberal as the first one. But you know what, Bob? I'm going to say this. I learned more at that first college. I'll tell you where it was. It was Union College in Kentucky. That's where my oldest Anna goes. She's very successful there. She's done a great job so far, and I'm proud of her. But I'm telling you, the liberal influence, which wasn't as liberal as things are now, I get that. But the liberal influence made it to where I could examine my own values and beliefs. I wouldn't be a minister now if not for those values, because it made me reanalyze my compassion for others, my love for other people, and it made me more balanced. So hang in there. Just keep studying. Put what you have to put on the test. Keep praying. Keep seeking God, and I'm telling you, you'll be better for it. Matt Sieber says, I watch the alien conspiracies. Aliens are fun, man. It says aliens or demons. Agree, Matt. One would order. Well, this is gonna be fun in the follow up. You guys have to understand, like on the other 2 live streams that we've done, I actually have more viewers that come in. Some of them comment, but the watch time is pretty long. which is why I keep wanting to do this live thing. I just didn't know it was going to go here. It gets so serious, and I'm thinking, my goodness, I didn't know that our live streams were going to be serious, but people are watching them. So when I'm addressing things in the future, that's why. Okay, so future comments, people are going to blow this up. But yeah, I think the whole alien thing is nothing but a deception. Um, I won't get into detail on this any more than Matt. You could probably get into detail on what you and I have talked about in private. But I, honest to goodness, believe that there is a great deception that's coming. It's nonsense. There's no life on other planets, folks. I hate to tell you. I hate to tell you. Um, Mel said. Mark said we live in a flat jack. Mark, you ain't a flat earther, are you, man? Don't say it, Mark. Please don't say it. Mel Johnson said I spent a year in Detroit in February 2006. Man, listen, it can be a year if you're there a week. It can be. I've got family there though, so it's home to me. To me, when I roll in there, it's like Norman Rockwell. The beautiful snow-covered streets and the big trees in the front yard and all that stuff. I love my family, and Aunt Kim and Aunt Donna and Aunt Marie, and Josh, and I just love my family. My Uncle David, I love all of them, and I miss them. And so if they're watching, hey. But to me, it's like going home. My mama and papa passed away over the past few years, and missed them. And they were transplanted Southerners, went up during the car boom, just like all the Southerners did. So it's really like going north to go south, if that makes any sense at all. Buster said, I don't watch pro football at all, just the Tennessee Vols. Go Vols! I still watch pro football. The patriotic thing doesn't bother me as bad as it does some people. I think pro football is in trouble because of pro football. I don't think it has anything to do with the kneeling and the whole patriotic thing at all. I think there are several factors that are causing the decline of NFL, but I think that one is the cherry on top. And now we're in a decline in the NFL, and I think that is what is sealing the deal. The NFL really needs to backspin on that. They really do. They messed up because if you look at their demographics, they're in trouble. Talk about that. We need to talk about that in the fall, right when it's the heart of the football season, and just really go with that. Bob, man, it's my pleasure to respond to your comment. Come back anytime. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and click the like button. Man, this is what we do in here. This is how we roll. Lana says, my parents are from Barberville. Love Barberville. That's Union College, man. UC. Dad came from Ohio for Ford. My uncle did Detroit for GM. So I understand. That's right, man. Barberville is the center of the universe. And if it's not, everyone there thinks it is, so you just go with it. You just go with it. I spent some of the greatest years, and I made the biggest mistakes while I lived in Barberville. And the community there loved me through it. Because I deserved my hind end whip the whole time I lived there. But they loved me through it. And that's why Dennis Jackson was in here earlier. He's from Barberville, Kentucky. He was one of those spiritual father kind of people. His whole family, I wouldn't be here if not for them. And so Barberville's a great place, wonderful place. Does anybody know if Guam Island has tipped over yet, Bill? I don't think Guam has. I don't know what you're talking about though, Mark. Like, what do you mean? I don't think it's tipped over. You know what I'm going to do next time I do this live stream? I'm going to have Carolyn. If you've ever watched Joe Rogan, yes, I've watched Joe Rogan. Forgive me, but if you've ever watched Joe Rogan, he actually has like an engineer who accesses stuff online. And like they put it on the screen, and then you could. I think that would be cool. I need that. Carolyn, you in?
I'm in.
She's in. All right, we're good. Does anybody know? I don't know. Is this a message? I don't. Somebody explain to me the Guam tipping over thing. I don't get it. And nobody's talking. Great. Hey, but we still have an 11 in here. And by the way, I just want to thank everybody that's still watching. You're awesome because you're making this possible. I think we broke a record tonight for a while, so I'm so grateful for that. I don't know if it's still monetized or not. Probably ain't. You know what? They really hold that over your head. I don't know if there are any other YouTube creators in here right now, but they really hold that over you, man. It doesn't take much to get demonetized. By the way, I have some videos that I hope that you guys check out. One of them is a Disney video that why the Grand Floridian is the greatest Disney resort. If you watch that video to the end, there's a payoff. There's something that I'm trying to say in that video, and so I hope that you guys, when you get time, that you'll check it out and watch it. It's a lot of fun. If you like Disney World and things like that, or just want to look at it, it's a lot of fun. So check that video out. Also, if you've not watched the pinball video, you're missing out. If you played pinball when you were younger, that's a lot of fun. Those two videos aren't getting out real well. Don't know why. Matt Sieber says a congressman once mentioned something about an island flipping over. Gee whiz. Just flipped over. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I don't know. I don't know why he had that accent. He just did. I don't know. Strong's Adventures. One of the senators said we couldn't add more troops because the island would. Is that really what happened? Oh my. Timothy Wilcox. Good to see you, buddy. I'm glad you're still here. Matt, man. I don't know. We added one more soldier. The whole thing tipped over. Come on. I don't know. I've not heard that yet, but wow. Wow. I think the other thing is that we live in this super age of super media all the time now. Is 24 hours of it. This right here, I mean, I love it because at least we get to interact, and I think that's the best part of this. If I had to just stare at a monitor or camera like some of these guys do, I think I'd go crazy just doing this. You just blah 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 blah. Watching you guys are what makes this possible. But we get bombarded with media around the clock. 24 hours a day, you're getting constant news information all the time. And that really does change, your perspective on things. You become more informed. But here's the thing. If you get false information, and going back to conspiracies again, I've watched conspiracy videos that I know aren't true, that beyond a shadow of a doubt, because maybe I have a connection to the situation or whatever. Like, that is not true. But people believe these conspiracies because they get hit with them over and over again, and then it becomes real. So Vonda says, really, but I don't know what to. Okay, so Mueller team. I haven't watched just full disclosure here. I haven't watched the news in 5 or 6 days, other than scrolling through Drudge real quick just to see if anything major's changed, and I have missed the headlines. Mark says, not a flat earther, Bill. I believe God is a better sculptor than that. Boy, I'm going to steal that, Mark. Is that okay? Write that down, Carolyn. That was good. Not a flat earther. I believe God is a better sculptor than that. So what you're saying is that it's a hexagon. No, I'm playing. No, but I love that statement. It's good. Guam references Hank Johnson from Georgia. Watched on YouTube. Sure will. I'll remember that. It's that good. It's insane. It's true. Juan says that's true. He's a dim, and I watched it on TV. Think he has a. I'm not saying that out loud. Juan, you're crazy, man. Buster says, I'm glad I found your channel. Buster, man, I'm glad you're here. Again, you guys make this channel great. And the more people that we get in here and get going, you got to look at it and say, okay, we have 10, 15. I think I can handle at least 3 times as many, and we could keep the channel going. I would worry, like, if we start getting to 100 people, I don't know if I can keep up with it. It'd be hard, to keep up with that many different comments, because I always feel bad if I miss a comment. What are your opinions on current law enforcement issues around the U.S.? Too broad for me, Bob. Can you get more specific on that? And then everybody else can jump in and give their opinions. We have law enforcement. Are you saying we have too much, too little? I will say this, that after the September 11th attacks, when all the armed forces were called to duty, I was one of them. And then all the guard units and reserve units were called. Patriotic fervor swept through the entire nation. That was great. And then we always elevate our civil servants, and we should thank them and appreciate them. But I think patriotism. I think we need to be careful with patriotism. We need to be careful with it. I don't want to go too far into that. I'm a patriot. I love my country. If you watch my videos, I talk about that all the time, how much I love my country. I do. But we need to be careful not to be blinded by patriotism sometimes. I don't want to get into that because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But especially if you are a patriot and you believe in standing for the flag and you believe in all that stuff, you really need to be the most skeptical person when it comes to your government, because it's your responsibility. So sometimes patriotism is used to blind us towards other things. And that's just something that I would say about when it comes to law enforcement. We need to be careful, because a police officer's job is to enforce the law. So the police officers, I don't think, are the problem, but some of the laws that we pass might be a problem. All right, I'm going to catch up on this because I'm getting some good advice here. Matt Sieber says, good cops, bad cops, none of them get paid enough. No, they don't, but nobody gets paid enough. So I would say, yes, you're right. None of them get paid enough, but Matt, I don't know. I don't think anybody gets paid enough. as far as take their class, professional class. If you look across the board there, and you say, well, cops do this and cops do this, I don't think a lot of people are getting paid enough. But I agree. Look, I'm not anti-police officers at all. Most of my best friends are police officers, but I give them a hard time too. Mark says, no, really, you need hernia after watching. You're killing me. Strong's Adventure. You also need to make your wife the moderator for the live streams. Not that you have a problem with anyone in here. I got you. I see what you're saying. And let her manage the. That way, I don't feel bad for having to tell somebody. I wouldn't even look at it. I would just look at the comments, and then if I miss one, she could tell me. She's loving this because she's sitting over here. She's loving the fact that y'all are asking her to be the moderator. She's loving it. That's her. That is her. That's where she's best. She's a great administrator. I should have taught her to cut and edit videos. I really should have, because she'd be better at it than me probably. I mean, I'm more of a creative person than she is, but she would get them out faster than I do. We're doing good now. I think we have like 10 videos or 11 out in 2 weeks. I'm trying to do the YouTube thing, so it's hard. Juan says, true, Matt, police and our military are underpaid. They put their lives in every day. Matt Seaver says, hello, Carolyn.
Hello.
Can you guys hear Carolyn when she says hello? I'm curious about how that mic works. Strong's Adventure says, or it's Bill on Strong Adventures is Bill. His name's Bill. Bill says, yep, blame your wife if someone needs kicked out.
That's right, baby.
You blame her. She's got an awesome voice, too. Carolyn's got a great voice. We need better microphones, equipment. Here's the funny part. I've got it. It's the interface that I'm having an issue with. Because we have amazing mics. My dad has a full-blown studio downstairs. Probably $100,000, wouldn't you say, babe? About $100,000 or more. Microphones and everything you would need to do this, and it would sound better. The only problem is, the microphone's like all up in your face and stuff. That's kind of aggravating. So here's another question that I just got, and then we'll close out on this question here. Well, Lana says that's really good amount of videos. And hi, Carolyn. She said, hi, Carolyn.
Hello.
Low volume. Low volume right now, Juan, or low volume with the microphones? Right now, how is the volume right now, guys? Guys and gals? And while you're answering that question, I want to tell you just a couple of things. Be sure that you go to our Facebook page at Bill Marion Life. Again, that's at Bill Marion Life. Sometimes with YouTube, it's a strange thing. With YouTube, a lot of people complain about not getting notifications. And it's not just me, because if it were just me saying that, I'd be like, people just ain't watching the video, But big YouTubers say this all the time on the channel, is that, hey, you may not always get your notifications. I don't know why that is, and I don't want to start a conspiracy theory as to what YouTube does. I don't. I tried that bit. It doesn't work. I love YouTube. I'm thankful to be on this platform. So let's help them out a little bit. If you join the Facebook page at Bill Marion Life, then you're always going to know when we release a video, because I'm going to put it there. But Facebook makes mistakes sometimes, because they want me sometimes to pay for extra exposure, and sometimes paying for that extra exposure means paying to get it to the people that I have on that page. Seriously, if you've never started a business Facebook page, check into that, because it's kind of, anyway, I'm not even going there. So we also use Twitter. And our Twitter handle is at Bill and Carolyn. Carolyn is spelled like Caroline, Caroline. So it's at Bill and Carolyn. So you want to be sure to do that. And always, when you go to any YouTube channel, make sure that you don't unsubscribe when you're trying to subscribe. A lot of people have done that because I need to subscribe, and they've already subscribed, and they end up unsubscribing. And then also, you want to check the bell, make sure that it's clicked to receive notifications. Now listen, you're going to get notifications from me sometimes on videos that you don't want to watch. It's okay. You just click the close button. No big deal. Let me catch up a little bit. Bob says, just from a civilian standpoint, what can the police do in your community or any community that'll bring a better sense of policing? I don't know, but I'm seeing a lot of good YouTube clips and Facebook shares of police officers doing amazing things, interacting with their community. Like while they're on the beat, some kids are playing basketball. They get out there and they kind of, not necessarily play basketball with them, but interact with them. Not being cheesy, but just literally loving them. Just going up and loving on them in the inner cities and in rural areas, and reminding people that they're people. I think that, to me, that's the biggest thing, is to remind them that you shouldn't talk to a police officer any way you want to. And it's not just respecting the badge. That's a person behind that badge. It's a real thing. It's nobody different than your brother or your cousin. And remembering that, they have a family. They have aunts and uncles and moms and dads. And remember that. I think if police officers, and we can help that in this community. It's one thing to make sure that we have a critical voice that's always analyzing the law enforcement, making sure that we keep them in check and have accountability there. I think that's very important. Accountability is huge. But at the same time, I think we, the non-police officers, I think we do a good job, or need to do a better job with our communities where we lead, at explaining how valuable law enforcement is. And we do that at our church all the time. We honor them on all of the major holidays, where we honor their work and our soldiers, and make sure that we remind people, hey, these people are important, and we love them, and we're thankful for them. And Matt, they don't get paid enough. But I'm a champion of labor anyway, and always wanting to see people get paid the most that they can. I'm happy when people start businesses and get rich. I'm happy when people get paid a lot. So of course I'm going to be a champion for everybody. But when it comes to law enforcement, I'm going to be pro law enforcement. I'm thankful for them. Yeah, Carolyn's not mic'd. Vonda, you said, I'm good that she's low. Carolyn's not mic'd. So this is what's great about a Mac, this Mac in particular, it's picking me up really well. And in my videos, I'm using this Mac and the external mic. And a lot of people are like, what kind of mic are you using? I'm like, Mac. And I could be using $400 and $500 mics. I think Dad's got one down there that I don't think he'll let me touch it, but it's like $1,000. I mean, it's a good mic. And again, it's the interface between those systems and this that I'm having issues with. Carolyn is actually sitting on the corner table there, but I think the microphone, the internal mic, goes forward. Buster, I appreciate it, man. I really do. I appreciate the compliment, because a lot of times you feel like a fool in here. Strong's Adventure says good for you, low for your wife. And Night Matt Mark Strong's, have a good one. Juan, have a good one. Guys, I hope you guys come back to our next live chat. I'm going to get off here. We've been at this for an hour and a half, and I'm just blown away that it's lasted this long. God bless each and every one of you. Now, Tuesday night is our real time, okay? So this was like not a real time. This was spontaneous because of D-Lo. But Tuesday night, jump back on. 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Let's talk. I'll have a topic for us, and I will be ready to rock and roll. I hope they don't demonetize this channel. I really do. Anyway, good night, guys. God bless you. And I got to stop this thing first. I do this